Right. So today we will be discussing Forex. First let me tell you the basics of foreign exchange. And the basics of foreign exchange, I will be telling you computation of exchange rates. I will be telling you computation of exchange rates. And the exchange rates spot rate and forward rate. Then after finding spot rate and forward rate, I will tell you about swap points and all while adding the forward rate. While computing the forward rate, you will be using some points called as swap points. Then you will have one-way quote and two-way quote. Then you will have appreciation and depreciation of a currency. You will have appreciation and depreciation of a currency. Before proceeding to sums from your study material, let me give you random examples for all the 4 points which I have listed out. What do you mean by exchange rate? Suppose say rupee per dollar. Rupee per US dollar is rupee 79. If this is the exchange rate which is known to us, this exchange rate will keep fluctuating every day. So if you are going to Google search for what is the value of 1 rupee per US dollar, I'm just doing the Google search right now to know the value of US dollar as of today. US dollar rate 82.62. As of today, it is 82.62. Sorry, let me use that number itself. To buy $1, you have to pay rupees 82.62. 82.62 is the rate for 1 US dollar. Okay. So when the currency is given in this term, what does it mean? It means that you have to spend 82.62 is the worth of 1 US dollar. 82.62 rupees is the worth of 1 US dollar. So what is this US dollar now? This US dollar is behaving like a commodity now. Okay, so to buy 1 US dollar, you have to pay 82.62, which means the US dollar is behaving like a commodity. Okay, is behaving like a commodity. So what is it? When a foreign currency is represented, when a foreign currency is represented in terms of Indian value, is represented in terms of domestic currency. It need not necessarily be rupees. For India, domestic currency is rupees. For Dubai, the domestic currency is dirhams. So the domestic currency of every country will change. Correct? So when a foreign currency is represented in terms of a domestic currency, the quote is called as the direct quote. The quote is called as a direct quote. Okay, so 82.62 per US dollar, which means 1 US dollar is behaving like a commodity. So when I am representing the currency, which is the foreign currency, in terms of Indian money, in terms of domestic currency, just a minute. The quote is called as a direct quote. Immediately one question may come up in your mind, then what is that indirect quote? Indirect quote is nothing but dollar per rupee. So If when a foreign currency, when an Indian currency, Indian or a domestic currency is represented in terms of a foreign currency. In terms of a foreign currency, it is called an indirect quote. So, for $1, if you say, if you are going to a foreign exchange, Western Union money transfer, you might have heard of it, right? So, when you are going to the exchange center to convert your rupees to dollars, suppose if you are flying abroad and you need to convert your money to dollars to spend abroad, okay? So, when you go to the bank and ask them, I want dollars, they will quote one rate. So, when they quote a rate, they quote 82.62 for $1. Instead, if you are going to the bank and asking, I am having 1 rupee with me. For that 1 rupee, how many dollars will you give? If the question is ulta, what is the rate of $1 ni illama? If the question is not like what is the rate of $1, but the question is like, I have 1 rupee. For that 1 rupee, how many dollars will you give? If it is an ulta of the question, such quote is called as indirect quote. So how many dollars will you get for 1 rupee? If 82.62 is $1, see here 82.62 rupees, sorry, 62 rupees is $1. 82.62 rupees is $1, which means for 1 rupee, how many dollars will you get? It will be 1 divided by 82.62. So what is 1 divided by 82.62? It is 0.0121. So $0.0121 is what you call as indirect quote. $0.0121 per rupee is what you call as indirect quote. Okay, so the direct quote is a foreign currency behaving like a commodity, and you are quoting the value for that commodity in terms of Indian money. That is direct quote. The ulta of direct quote is indirect quote, where you go to the bank or the exchange center and say, I have 1 rupee with me. For that, how many dollars will you give? So, where what happens? There the trading becomes for 1 rupee. So that is indirect quote. This direct and indirect quote is one-way quote because there is only one rate which is given. If there are 2 rates given, let me give you an example of a direct quote itself. If they say rupees per US dollar is 82.62/83.50, just random examples. If they tell you this way, this is called as a two-way quote. This two-way quote is the buying rate and the selling rate of the bank. Buying rate and selling rate of the currency by the bank. Okay, wow. So this rate is what you call as bid rate by ask rate. This rate is what you call as bid rate and ask rate, where bid rate is the rate of buying a foreign currency by a bank. Rate of buying a foreign currency by a bank. Say suppose I have gone for a US tour, I have returned to India. I have dollars with me. Going to live in India, that dollars is of no use to me. So what I will do, I will go and convert it to rupees with the bank. When I go and give dollars to the banker is buying the dollars. When the banker is buying the dollars, he will quote 82.62 rate. Suppose if I have to travel to US and I have to convert my Indian money to dollars, the bank is selling dollars at that time. At that time, they will quote 83.50. You cannot go and argue with the bank. When I came to you 10 days ago before I went for a US tour, you gave me 83.50 per dollar. Now I have come to you to return the surplus dollars with me, but you are giving only 82.62. You cannot go and fight with the bank because it is a two-way quote which is quoted by the bank. That two-way quote is the difference between the buying rate and the selling rate by the bank. So what is bid rate? Rate of buying a foreign currency by the bank. When you are selling, the banker is buying. Okay. Then ask rate. Ask rate is the rate of selling a foreign currency by the bank. Rate of selling a foreign currency by the bank. So this is bid rate and ask rate. The difference between bid rate and ask rate is called as spread. The bank makes profit because of the difference in the bid rate and the ask rate in foreign exchange transactions. Okay. So in forex transactions, what is the benefit for the bank? The benefit for the bank is called as spread. That spread is the difference between the ask rate and the bid rate. That spread is the difference between ask rate and bid rate, which is the profit made by the bank in foreign exchange transactions. This happens when it is a two-way quote. Predominantly, it will be two-way quote only. In very, very rare situations, it will be one-way quote. Okay. So this is how a two-way quote is presented. If suppose this is for a direct quote. This is for a direct quote. Okay. Direct quote is always bid by ask. Always the ask rate must be greater than the bid rate, because ask rate is the selling rate and bid rate is the buying rate. Always the selling rate should be greater than the buying rate. Suppose if I have to convert this to an indirect quote. If I convert this to an indirect quote, let me write that number once again. Rupees per US dollar 82.62/83.50. This is direct quote where the currency is represented as for 1 US dollar, where the US dollar behaves like a commodity. Now coming to indirect quote for a two-way currency. Indirect quote is dollar per rupee. While finding indirect quote, it will not be directly 1 divided by 82.62. Instead, it will be 1 divided by 83.50/1 divided by 82.62. So, indirect quote of a currency will be bid is equal to 1 by ask and ask is equal to 1 by bid. Why is it done like that? If you are finding the rate, if you are finding 1 divided by 82.62, it is 0.0121. 1 divided by 83.5 is 0.01. 1 minute. 1 divided by 83.50. 0119. 0120. Only if I do like this, bid will be less than ask. Always ask rate should be greater than the bid rate. Always ask rate should be greater than bid rate. If I convert the direct quote to an indirect quote straight away, if I write indirect quote as 1 by 82.62/1 by 83.5, the bid rate will become greater than the ask rate, but it is not possible. Hence, while converting the quote to an indirect quote for a two-way quote, the bid rate will be 1 by ask and the ask rate will be 1 by bid. Did you understand so far? One-way quote, two-way quote, direct quote, indirect quote. Did you understand so far? Right. Now, after this, suppose if the spot rate is given. Suppose if the spot rate is given as rupees per US dollar 82.62 and they say the swap points for 3 months is 15, or let me also write 83.50. The swap points, if it is given 15 by 20 for 3 months. Here, the swap points is in ascending order. So, the 3-month forward rate will be calculated as, 3-month forward rate will be calculated as spot plus swap points, where it is 82.62 plus 0.15. So, 15 is not added to the number. 15 will be added to the decimal. Okay. So, it is 82.62 plus 0.15, which is 82.77 slash 83.50 plus 0.2, which is 83.7. The swap points will be added to the decimal value and it will not be added to the whole number. Okay. So, here the swap points is in ascending order. So, you are adding. What if the swap points is in descending order? Suppose the spot rate is 82.62 slash 83.50 and say the swap points is 20 by 15. If the swap points is in descending order, the forward rate will be calculated as spot minus swap points. The 3-month forward rate will be calculated as spot minus swap points. Okay. So again, the swap points must be subtracted from the spot rate, but only with the decimal, not with the whole number. So it will be 82.42 slash 83.35. Ulta was, right. This is right. So always the bid rate must be less and the ask rate must be more. When the swap points is in ascending order, when it is increasing, you will add the swap points. When it is decreasing, you will reduce the swap points. This is for computation of forward rate.